Alrighty, here we are. The Views Express, live from the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com for the 26th of November, 2012. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I took a couple of days off because I didn't have a guest host. So there you go. Today's show is, of course, if you want to follow along, you can do that. You can go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check that out, please. Thank you. Follow along there. I've got a lot of pictures up. I got a few articles. I want to get through something here before the first break, and let you know that I'll just put it to you this way. I put a podcast up earlier and kind of mentioned and really laid out the whole thing of how I feel about people, telling me I'm wrong, telling me I'm a conspiracy theorist, whatever. If you need me to break that down again, please ask. I'm more than willing to do that. But I was just listening earlier. Now, I broadcast live on Spreaker.com. Spreaker is an excellent place to be. So is blogtalkradio.com. So is talkshoe.com. Great places to be. But this place, Spreaker.com, is the easiest way to do your shows. Just going to leave it at that. You can go to Spreaker.com, scroll down to the bottom. You look under plans. They'll have a plan that fits your budget. They should sponsor my show, shouldn't they? Because I'm pumping them up every day, man. But on Spreaker, there are some people here and there. And I don't listen to every show that, comes around on Spreaker, but I get notifications of, when you go to the Spreaker page, to the public page, not public page, but when you go to your page, your Spreaker host pages, you see, this person, there's a lot of other, likely people that would want to hear your show, or that there's other shows that you might want to listen to. Anyway, it's all complicated. And there are certain people on Spreaker who seem to think, and I'm just going to lay it out because this is no holds barred. I will name names. I don't care. What are they going to do? Come to my door, knock on my door, and say, "Would you stop, telling everybody it's me?" No. Okay. So here, I started setting up everything, and it's almost break. So I'm going to go to my first break, come back, I'll lay it out for you. You can do what you want. You can say what you want. I will stand next to you and defend your freedom to have free speech, free expression, all of that. But when it comes to, let's just put it this way, stirring the pot and trying to expose people, you're on the wrong side of the liberty movement. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll tell you what, that's a big problem in my eyes. Huge, huge problem. So I will go to break, and when I come back, I'm going to expose, and I use that term loosely, someone on Spreaker that just seems to think that he can do that for his own selfish purposes. We shall return right after this. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. That is from 1984 by George Orwell. Do you really want to know what's going on? Come listen to The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's on your mind? Chances are it's on their mind too. Check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on Spreaker.com. This is the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com for the 26th of November, 2012. Thank you all for being here. If you're in the chat room, if you're listening, drop in the chat room and say hi, because I'd like to know. Because I'd like to know who's listening to the show. If you got a subject you want to bring up and you're in the chat room, go ahead and just bring it up. That's all you got to do. Bring it up. Hey, before the break, I told you I was going to tell you something, and that is there are a lot of people on Spreaker, having great shows. I've heard Shillbilly Radio, I've heard Shillbilly Internet Radio, I've heard Mobster Boss Radio, I've heard a bunch of other shows. Chris Top program, just a whole bunch. But when you listen to someone, let me ask you a question. Just step away for a moment and just in yourself answer this question. When you hear someone say, I've got the scoop on someone, or I'm going to expose this person for who they really are, what is your first impression? Don't think about it. Just immediately. First impression. What is it? You're going to be right in that first impression. Well, what kind of, what has he got against that person? What is he going to expose about that person? Should we trust him? And this person who I heard a piece of I heard the podcast earlier from this person on Spreaker, and I got to tell you, it was it wasn't even enough for me to even want to hear the show. Okay? It didn't even attract me, okay, to wanting to hear I'm going to expose this, I'm going to expose that. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell you, you can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You have free will to do that. I come on this show. The views expressed is a show about views that you have, that I have, expressed in a forum with an online live radio show. It's not terrestrial, it's online. Such as the same thing you can do over at TalkShoe.com, but you have to call in on a host number. Same thing you do over at BlogTalkRadio.com, but you got to call into a host number. Here at Spreaker, you just plug a mic in, you set everything up, you do what you got to do, and boom, you're on. And you can say whatever you want. Well, this person here on Spreaker, this host, this truth, this purveyor of truth, communicator of truth, this person who says all they want to do is tell the truth. And then he asks something to the effect like, should you trust me? Well, that right there turns me off. What about you? Email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. If you're in the chat room, drop in there, say hi. You can do what you want. Liberty and Freedom Network, I don't have permission from the government. I'm not at the mercy of the government to do this, show. It's online. What for? Although President Obama did sign a Cybersecurity Act, which will probably, at the first of the year, come into effect, if not immediately. And it will probably put shows like mine and Alex Jones and Glenn Beck and all of that right off the map. Unless you and I fight back. Now, of course, you can do what you want, but you have to have... Doing what you want requires knowledge. And this host that I'm going to be exposing here and telling you his name has no knowledge whatsoever of what, I mean, if he does, he's going to give it to you piece by piece. Yeah, I'm going to give you the truth, but I'm going to give it to you over time. I'm going to give it, and he said today on his show, I'm going to give you the soft stuff, which is the hard stuff. Which is stuff you can't really, and the soft stuff is the hard stuff, and the hard stuff is the soft stuff. And I'm like, dude, you lost me at who you were going to expose and tell the truth on, which is absolutely ridiculous. But along with that, you shouldn't be dependent on what others want. Yeah, you want to give your audience the truth. Yeah, you want to spread the news. Yeah, you want to get out there. Yeah, if it really affects society or a certain group of people, yes, expose them. But it's not. Okay? I'll tell you who this is. There's a show here on, and he said he had come back. There's a show here on Spreaker hosted by a guy by the name of Angel Diaz the Third. Okay? So here on Spreaker, this host, Angel Diaz, wants to expose all this. And he says he wants to expose Glenn Beck. He wants to not Glenn Beck, him too probably, but Alex Jones, and he wants to give financial advice or have guests on his show that are going to, in other words, he's laying out the foundation of trying to attract you to his show by saying, I'm going to tell the truth. Angel Diaz does not know the truth, even if it jumped up and bit him in the face. Okay? Our reality is determined by what our perspective is. And he talks about, well, I'm going to give you have to live in reality. I'm like, dude, I am living in reality. I'm listening to the podcast that he did earlier today, and it's just, what? Because he says he's going to expose Alex Jones, his advertisers, his this, his that. I did a podcast earlier, and you can hear it right here, and I lay it out, tell you how I feel about people like that and what my personal thing will be about those people. What I'm going to do about those people. What I'm not going to do about those people. But you can hear it all in the podcast. If you want me to go over it, that's fine. I can break it down. Not a big deal. But this Angel Diaz is a host on Spreaker, and he has a show, and he's there's no name for the show as of yet, but you can look up Angel Diaz, and he looks Hispanic, and you'll see his picture. You can't miss him. Okay, but the thing is that while on Spreaker, we all have freedom of speech. We all have freedom of expression. We do what we do. If you've listened to Mobster Boss Radio Live, you know. And if you listen to Shillbilly Internet Radio, you know that we all have free speech. But just because I have free speech doesn't necessarily mean it's Angels or any of that. What it means is that we are a body of people who have a free will and speak our minds. A piece of paper called the Constitution and the Bill of Rights literally tells our federal government, Washington, D.C., that they don't have a right to stop us from speaking our minds. Pretty much it, in layman's terms. That's it. It's not yours, it's not mine, it's all of ours. Just because this Angel Diaz wants to expose Alex Jones or, whatever, and give you the truth and all this, that, and the other thing, it's just fine. I will stand next to him and defend him and his freedom of speech. I don't agree with him, but he has a reason to say it. He has a right to say it, and therefore, as a member of the United States of America, the free and sovereign nation, as a free and sovereign person, as a liberty-minded, freedom-minded person as I am, I will stand next to him and defend him for having that freedom of speech, even though I disagree with him. To me, that's common sense. But to have someone like him come on a show or create a show and, just start throwing stuff out there, and start, it's like taunting the other person, basically. You ever done that? You ever taunted anybody? It's like, that's what he's doing. Okay? Doesn't matter, what he says. I disagree with him wholeheartedly. Hands down, disagree with everything because I know his intentions. Again, like I said before, you can do what you want, but that requires knowledge. So I know his intentions, and therefore, immediately after hearing his podcast earlier, turns me off to anything else he's going to say. Why? I know his intentions. I don't know why he's doing it, but I know he's going to do something which I disagree with. Basically, Now, if he can come on the show, and if he does hear this, hear this show, he's got an open invitation to call in on Open Forum Friday and, give my audience his reasoning as to why he wants to do what he does. No big deal. If he doesn't, no big deal. But it's an open invitation. It's right there. I will give him the information on how to call in. Okay? But no matter if you or I we understand that we have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. We have that. It's protected. Well, okay, as of December 31st, 2011 last year, President Obama signed the NDAA into law and pretty much gutted the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So, we need to reestablish it. And we need to do it quickly. And from my perspective, his point of view, Angel's point of view, Angel Diaz, the host of a show here on Spreaker, his point of view is totally and absolutely wrong from my perspective. What he intends to do, I believe, is wrong. Pretty much. And even though you as in a general sense, not specific to one person, even though people may see his view as being valid, that's their view because they're seeing it from a different perspective than I am or than somebody else is. Okay? He might say, or he does say in his podcast, you can go look it up, Angel Diaz the Third or Angel Diaz. He says he wants to give you the truth. Okay, try this on for size. What is true for you is true for you as you observe it. There's no other way. You believe it's true because it's how you see it. It's what you perceive from your perspective. What is true for you is true for you. And everybody has, of course, everybody has a point of view. Everybody has a perspective, right? But obviously, this Angel Diaz has other reasons to try to expose people. Is it self-gain? I'm just listening to him earlier in his podcast and catching some, little things, his attitude behind certain things he said. I'm going to say yes, that's an affirmative. He's in it for self-gain. And he does say that he does have advertisers, so that's how he, can be able to, support the show somehow, right? But I think what he fails to do is he fails to recognize that other people have other perspectives. I really believe he does, although in his earlier podcast, he didn't allude to that. But I would even, just his attitude behind what he has said in that 13-minute podcast really gives me the impression that he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't even understand that other people have varying perspectives. Okay? And my message to him or anybody else that wants to expose anybody is this. You do what you do. But it's not truth when the facts aren't present. Okay? I've known that all my life. Remember how we were little kids? Remember? We were younger, we lied. Mom said, well, how'd that happen? I don't know. Where's your homework? And our poor dog. If we had a dog, that poor dog always got blamed for everything. Why is your sister crying? Dog did it. That kind of stuff. We lied through our teeth when we were kids. But we grew up and we understand. We got to that point of understanding that our morals and our integrity matter. So if the lies were perpetuated, what does that tell you about morals and ethics and integrity? You lack them big time. Okay? Tell a lie long enough, it becomes truth. No, it doesn't. It's still a freaking lie. Okay? We're going to vote for lesser of two evils. Which one's less evil? Neither one. They're still evil. Okay? Doesn't really matter. So this Angel Diaz, who's a host here on Spreaker, has a show, really needs to get a clue and grow up. Well, I'll tell you straight up. I wanted to expose a lot of people when I was younger. I wanted to, when I was like 20-something, early 20s, I wanted to just, somebody said something, oh, that's a lie, and I'm going to prove it, that kind of thing. We had a chip on our shoulder, tried to prove everything, that kind of stuff. I always tell people now, prove yourself right, only because of the fact that if you think it's true, you have to prove it to yourself first before you, give it to anybody else. That's pretty much why I say that. I got to prove it to myself. What I'm saying to you is what I had to prove to myself first of all. To me, that's just common sense. A lot of people don't operate in that. I don't know why. But, so this Angel Diaz needs to understand that there is a perspective of other people. I'm turned off. If he's going to have a show, I'm not going to listen to it. Why? Not because I'm in protest. Not because I don't agree with the fact that he has free speech and that I support the fact that people have free speech. No, it's not that. Is that his intentions are wrong. He might have a good idea, but that idea has been corrupted somehow to where he's going to look at this liberty movement and say, here's this, and these are the people you're dealing with, and yada, 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 and that kind of thing. I do that, but I have links, I have stories, I have articles, I've got stuff on my computer I can share with you people. It's all right there. Go to the UN website, United Nations website, and look under Agenda 21. That tells you right there, the facts about what the UN wants to do to the United States of America. The Trilateral Commission is going to take over all these other countries, but because the U.S. is in a unique position being what it is, the United Nations has to take it over. Why? Because they are the ones that can deal with the variety of people that are here in the United States. Go look it up. It's on the UN website, Agenda 21. Yes, Glenn Beck has a book out called Agenda 21. But I've been looking at this stuff since I was in high school over 30 years ago. 30, okay? I know this stuff like the back of my hand. In the Reagan era, I said, I told my friends, here's what they're going to do. I told my family, here's the blueprint. And they looked at me like, oh, you're one of those conspiracy nuts. You're a kook. Why are you saying that'll never happen? Or, I told my mom in 1978, and I remember, or 79, I was graduating the following year. I told my mom, I said, I'm not going to have Social Security when I get 65. She goes, oh yeah, the government owes it to you. No, they don't. I said, Mom, I'm not going to have it. She goes, yeah, they owe it to you. They're obligated to give it to you. No, they aren't. And look what's happening. Hello. I remember the day when this whole financial thing came on TV. It was the mid-'70s, and I remember this when it was, the government was saying, there's this thing that the banks are going to help you with, and it's called an individual retirement account, an IRA, and you can. I remember when that whole news broadcast was about that. For about two or 3 days, it was like that, right? Now, businesses were talking about Keogh plans or 401ks and that kind of thing, and obviously everybody thought, hey, that's a way to, save some money. No, it's a way to, nobody can do that now, can they? Okay, no, everybody in the last 4 to 8 years has had to pull their money out of their 401k just to live. Okay? And I'm not talking retirement. I'm talking people with a mortgage and families, and they've had to pull their money with penalties out of their 401k to live. I'm just going off all over the place, folks, and I want to apologize, but I wanted to get that out. Angel Diaz is totally out there in left field yelling at an empty stadium, okay? Angel, look for him. Angel Diaz, D-I-A-Z, here on Spreaker. Go listen to the podcast. I guarantee you can tell by his attitude, he's just out in left field. He's got the ball, he's got the uniform, but the stadium is empty. He's in the wrong game if that's what he wants to play. He almost sounds like somebody wanting to pick up his ball and go home. But anyway, got a lot to share. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, please. Thank you. Follow that. Be aware of what's going on. I got a lot of stuff up there, man. A lot of stuff. It's just, oh my God. There's just so much. Anyway, you can email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. You can also email me right there at the Facebook page, Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. That'd be cool too. If you're in the chat room, say hi. If you got a subject you want to share, please do. Just pop it in there. Hey, this is the views expressed for the 26th of November, 2012. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. This is the Liberty and Freedom Network, and we are broadcasting on Spreaker.com.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Have you heard about a show called Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri? It's a talk show. Well, it's called Grab Bag Potpourri for a reason. They talk about everything under the sun, from education to politics, from lines at the cashier in the stores to parking lot drivers not paying attention. You want real radio? Well, you don't get any more real than that. That's Diane and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of fun.
We went to the streets to ask people, what do you like about Doc FM?
Oh, well, I think he's sexy. He has a very sexy voice, and he makes my headphones tingle.
I think the doctor is very smart. Everything he tells you, you must learn it, because it is smartness to know. Plus, he plays my favorite music. He plays like the 80s and the 70s and the 44s and the 62s.
J'ai pas eu une seule occasion de rester sans rien faire depuis que je suis arrivé à Camelot. Je suis trop occupé à courir derrière Arthur. Fais ci Merlin, fais ça Merlin. Et quand je cours pas derrière Arthur, je fais des corvées pour vous. Et quand je fais pas ça, j'accomplis mon...
Doc FM on Spreaker.com.
Well, it's no secret that Doctor won't play none of that countrified music, so I don't really listen to him that much, but when I do, it's a hoedown. The first time that I listened to the Doctor, he was making fun of the British. After I got over my attitude, I came back and listened to him. He's wonderful and raucous.
Listen to Doc FM every Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Central, right here on Spreaker.com.
This is the Views Express for the 26th of November 2012. How y'all doing? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. Yeah, and of course, you know it, I know it. We eat too much, okay? And we always say we're not going to do that. But we do. We do. Hey. Glad you're here. Pop in the chat room. Say hi. Want to get a hold of me? You can. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Several things. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Thank you. Like the page, if you would please. Want to go to the first picture on the Liberty and Freedom Network Facebook page. It says, wanted for crimes against humanity, Adolfo Nicholas, the Black Pope, Jacob de Rothschild, Evelyn de Rothschild, David de Rothschild, Nathaniel Philip de Rothschild, David Rockefeller, he passed away, Henry Kissinger, George H.W. Bush, a.k.a. George Scherf Jr. Yeah, George S.C.H.E.R.F. Jr. Dick Cheney, J. Rockefeller, who's senator, obviously, unless he lost his Senate seat, don't know. Donald Rumsfeld, Karl Rove, and Paul Wolfowitz. There we go. Wolfowitz. It's a hard word to say. November 26, 2012. This group only posts once per day. That's the group's name, which is really weird. This group only posts once per day. And today we remind you of the Money Masters' plan to steal everything the world has. They have no sympathy for millions dying each year. All they care for is profit. Economic slavery. Okay? Period. Now, that is so true. Now, this Angel Diaz also says that it's not about the Rothschilds, it's not about Rockefellers, it's not about that, it's not. Basically what Angel Diaz is doing is he's pushing pushing you. He's holding your head away from the actual thing going on. Is, oh no, you don't need to see this. Here's the truth. Here's the facts. Here, look, the other people have talked about the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Here, look, I'm exposing those people talking about them. No, here. And there's other people out there like Angel Diaz who does things like that as well. And I got to tell you, they ain't going to last. Okay? For example, Air America. Remember that show on XM? I never listened to it, but remember? Yeah. Exactly. These people who are wanted for crimes against humanity are exactly those people that run things. Okay? They not only run things, but they tell other people what things they should be doing as well. In other words, certain groups are you got to go back to the Rothschilds to have them tell this little group, hey, in America, here's what we want to do. We want to set this up so, people might think this. And, it's all propaganda bull crap. That's what it is. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network if you if you're not already there. And scroll on down, you'll see this big, huge picture. Actually, next to it, you'll see weather modification and geoengineering industry exposed. Talked about exposing other things. There's something for you. But there's a picture of an RFID chip. And it says, here is a close-up of the microchip implant that will be required under the Obamacare program beginning this coming March. This part of the plan is outlined on page 1004 for those who care to look it up. This device includes tracking your whereabouts at any one given time. Now, it's the size of a dime or smaller. It's actually 1 millimeter in diameter. There is a tissue bonding cap. A cap made of special plastic covers the hermetically sealed glass capsule containing the RFID circuitry. The plastic is designed to bond with human tissue and to prevent the capsule from moving around once it has been implanted. There's an antenna. The coils of the antenna turn the reader's varying magnetic field into current to power the chip. The coil is coupled with a capacitor to form a circuit that resonates at 134 kilohertz. All you electronic people out there like myself know what that means. Okay? ID chip. The ID modulates the amplitude of the current going through the antenna to continuously repeat at 128 bits cycle. 128 bit signal, The bits are represented by a change in amplitude, low to high, high to low. An analysis by Jonathan Westhughes of Cambridge, Massachusetts, indicated that only 32 of the bits varied between any two varichips. The rest of the bits probably tell the reader when the loop starts and may also contain some error checking or correction data. There are 5,390 shares on this and 763 people like this. Why? One of the commenters here said, this is not in the Healthcare Act. Get an education so you can read this. This is put up by Christians against Obama's reelection, but they tell a whopper like this. Wow. And some other comments said, embarrassed to call myself a Christian when I read junk like this. Seriously, people, Jesus Christ did not ask us to check our brains when we knocked at salvation's door. Again, propaganda. Go look that word up. One of the commenters here said a case was just one in Texas where a girl fought her school on monitoring location card. Each child was mandated to wear at all times around their neck. She fought on her constitutional right for her religious belief. She won. This administration is trying to sneak it past us on more passive reasons, quote, helping the people in a devastation aftermath of, unquote, of Hurricane Sandy. Purpose, to provide locations of displaced persons so their families can find them. Sure sounds helpful, doesn't it? It's propaganda, folks. I put it up there for illustration purposes, and what I'm illustrating is the fact that, yes, there in the mid-90s, early to mid-90s, I found out from, I'll just say from some folks that I knew, that they were putting together, that Bank of America, IBM, and a few other electronic companies, I think Texas Instrument in Texas and other companies like that, and smaller companies as well, were putting together what was called biometrics. They were putting together machines that all you have to do is put your hand on it, biometrics, boom, you get in. When you got your driver's license, to give you a prime example, did you go into the Department of Motor Vehicles and get your license and have to put your thumb on a reader of some sort? Did you have to do that? Because that right there is biometrics. That right there is what I'm talking about. I knew this back in not only the late 80s, but also the early 90s when it started to come out. And people were looking into this. I knew Christians at Christian Life Center in Stockton that were telling me information that I had already known since high school, that the government was doing this, they were covering up this, they were covering up that. And people were telling me this. My friend and I found out a few things, and we're going, holy mackerel, what's going on? You know? This was in the early 90s, folks, over 20 years ago, okay? They've had this technology out for many, many years, okay? Many years. And guess what? Go back 20 years ago. Where is the first place they tried this on? Now, let me go back now. Go back and read the comment that this person put up. I'm going to go back now. I mean, seriously. This commenter said about this girl in Texas who won her case against the school and was expelled, said the purpose of this is to provide locations of displaced persons so their families can find them. Sure sounds helpful to me, or helpful, doesn't it? Where was the first place they put these RFID chips? In your animals. For why? What purpose? To find them when they were lost, right? Dun, dun, dun. Can we put two and two together here, folks? Yes, we realize that's for, of course, those people out there that know. Do you understand what is happening? Oh, wait, let me spell it out for you. They're tracking you. You know, I'm sitting here in the studio here, and I've got my Android-powered phone on me right now. And the battery's low and it's going to die on me here in a minute, but they're tracking you. Let me go into, if I can, let me go into system settings, and I'll tell you something. Do this, please. If you have your phone on you, please do this. Go into system settings, and it'll bring up a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Go scroll down. It goes into personal areas. Go into location services. Google location service. Let apps use data from sources such as Wi-Fi and mobile networks to determine your approximate location. GPS satellites. Let apps use GPS to pinpoint your location. Location in Google search. Let Google use your location to improve search results and other services. Hello, folks. You're being tracked everywhere you go. And And I think Infowars.com has it, as well as Drudge Report and other places, has literally said that Google, that other people have found out that Google does track you. It is now out in the open. Hello, there it is. But are you still too dense to realize it? Are you still banging your head against the wall saying, I wish those conspiracy theorists would just shut up? You're going to get yourself a headache. Oh, I forgot. You constantly walk around with your head turned the other way. Nothing to see here now. Move along. You constantly have your head and your eyes directed in other ways. And there's dozens, if not thousands of people like Angel Diaz who says, I can expose the truth. I have this. I have... You know what? In my podcast, I literally laid down what I think. After this show is over, please check out the podcast that I put up earlier. Okay? I explain it all right there. All right? If you're in the chat room, want me to go over a little bit, I can. I don't have a problem with that. The facts remain, folks. They remain. It's there, right there, in front of your face. And you're sitting there going, wow, huh. What, I wonder who's going to get in a Super Bowl this year. I wonder what Kim Kardashian's doing. Man, I sure like her. You people are, I don't know, man. My listeners know. Oh, you guys are aware. Thank you for your support. Thank you for, following this show. Thank you for, going to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. I appreciate that. If you're on the website, please help out a little bit. I'm serious. I mean, you guys know what's going on. But don't you find it hard that people who look at you go, oh, you're on all that. No. I'm into liberty and freedom. That's what I'm into. I'm into exposing people. Yes, I am. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Trilateral Commission, the UN, all of the Agenda 21 policies being implemented in your cities. How many bike paths does your city need, right? How many little parks and little areas of natural stuff does your city need? And why is it? Have you noticed? I haven't noticed it here in Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in the world. I haven't noticed this yet. But have you noticed that a lot of housing is being built not so much outside of the city, but have you noticed that as the sprawl is slowing down, that bigger buildings are being built in your city, taller buildings, I should say, are being built in your city? Have you noticed that some of your older, taller buildings are either being turned into condos or some of those floors are being turned into condos? I don't care where it is. Could be in the middle of London, could be in Sydney, Australia. It doesn't matter. Have you noticed this going on? Have you noticed your buildings that are maybe 8 to 12 stories tall are now getting buildings about the same size around that area incorporated? Have you noticed something going on? Like, why are more people moving into the city than out? If that's happening in your city, let me know. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. It's amazing to me to see this stuff. It's like it's like, the birds have flown and then they're coming home. Why? You tell me. But I want to know what's going on in your city, so email me, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com, libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. If you're on the website, go to the left-hand side if you like the show, and if you want to contribute to it, you can. Do appreciate that. There's a donate button there on the bottom left-hand side. Donate as much as you want. You got $1 in your pocket? Hey, there you go. All that does, I got a book for sale, Many Directions of Man. It's on the right-hand side of the website. All that does is keeps the website going and the show going. That's all it does. That's it. Bottom line, it's it. If it went for anything else, I'd tell you. No, it goes right back into the show. Okay, keeps the website up and the show going, pretty much. Okay, so, but I want to know if you've noticed anything happening in your downtown or in your areas of downtown that kind of make you scratch your head and go, wait a minute, why are they building, why are they converting certain buildings with gardens on top or courtyards that now have, green stuff going on? Why are they why are they remodeling some of the buildings with solar panels? Why are they? Oh, it's green energy. It's all that green energy. We have to. No, folks. No. Go to the UN website. Go look up Agenda 21, and that will tell you exactly why they're doing it. Okay? It's up to you. All right? Just saying. Before we go to the top of the hour break, the long break that we have at the top of the hour. If you're over there on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook, please scroll on down and you'll see the Queen Mum. Okay? You'll see the Queen of England there on a 20-pound note. And you'll see that it's been enhanced. And it says, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of 20 pounds. And down below it says, I promise to pay the bearer on demand, signifies a legal contractual relationship. This contract is between a promisor and the bearer. You are the promisor. You create money when you go into debt. Money, therefore, is, and always has been, promissory. It exists only as a device of your debt. Do you still think you borrow money when you need debt? Do you still think you're supposed to pay interest? Do you still think there's nothing you can do about it? Economic reality. That's from moneytruth.org. And it says, and of course, who put it up was Red Pill or Blue Pill from Facebook. Sky says, simply understand that money is enough to help us, is not enough to help us see the world, see what the world might look like in the absence of these great lies. Interest is and always has been theft. Let's take back what is stolen for those who were stolen from. One of the comments there says, I don't know where you're heading. Somebody made a comment of something, and I almost read that one. It's there's like 13 comments here, so let's start at the top. Shall we? One of the commenters said, if money only exists because people believe in it, does that mean if you don't believe in it, I can live without money? And another commenter said, I don't know where you're heading with that comment. We only need money because generations previous have built up these civilizations upon it. Surely you can live without money, maybe grow your own food, for example, start trading things you don't need for things you do need, etc. It's not too hard to think about it. There's so much more to this world than earning money. Okay? And that is true. I have to admit, there is so much more than our materialistic greed. But it's so nice to have an H3 or a Hummer in my driveway because it shows that I have been successful. Okay, you need to redefine your meaning of success, because you need to look at what true success is. Okay, it's not having the biggest house on the block or the best cars or the fanciest stuff. No. Success is knowing within yourself that you've accomplished something greater today than you did yesterday. That's true success. Has nothing to do with the materialism you have around your house. Look, I've got a Van Gogh painting on my wall. So what? I paint myself. I got my paintings on my wall. What does that mean? People have to redefine who they are, what they want, and their purpose here. Period. End of sentence. And people who are critical of other people and want to expose them for what they are, I expose people that are about ready to control us. I want to expose the tyranny in this world. I want to expose the tyranny in this country and tell you through historical stories and other things and information that I find. I want to expose the liars, thieves, and cheaters out of Washington, D.C. and tell you people who they are, what they're planning on doing, and what you can do about it. Okay? I'm not like people like Angel Diaz on Spreaker, who just comes on and says, I'm going to, show you the soft stuff. I'm going to tell you about the soft stuff, which is really the hard stuff, and the hard stuff is the soft stuff, and I'm going to expose who these people really are. It's not about and he says this, it's not about the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers. Really? Excuse me? This has been going on for over 100 years, okay? So I'm sure it had something and still has something to do with them. Okay? So people like that, to me, just turn me off. And if you listen to my podcast from earlier, I spell it out for you. I mean, it's right there, And I just, it's amazing. Okay? It's just simply amazing. All right? I get to the point where I just want to grab people and say, hey, look, here's this. Hello, look right here. Here's, can you read this? But I know that's not going to help, because people who want to be blind will be blind. People who don't want to see the truth will not. And people who want to venture into the nether world and see the truth for what it is, they can do that too. Angel Diaz says that, going down the rabbit hole, it's not really a rabbit hole. It's a delusion. It's an illusion, And I'm just like, this guy is so far out in left field, he's not even playing the game. He's in the wrong park. But anyway, hey, we're going to go to break. Top of the hour break. Going to be well over 6 minutes long. I like to tell you how long it's going to be. That way you can go do what you got to do and then come back and listen to the views expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. This is the views expressed. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Do you want liberty-minded radio? There's no other straightforward radio you will ever hear than The Angel Clark Show. Join Angel Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern at www.radiofreedom.us. That's The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern at radiofreedom.us. listen to The Sandy Fox Show, playing a variety of music including rock, pop, and country. The Sandy Fox Show is a production of the Force Radio Network. You can find her and all of the great FRN shows on Spreaker.com, Icedcast.org, and by searching for Force Internet Radio on TuneIn.com. You can also find great mobile apps on TuneIn.com to take the live shows and replays with you. The Force Radio Network, real radio for real people. Want more entertainment value than your dollar can buy you at the movies? Listen to the Chris Top Program on Spreaker.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a journey into light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/Journey into the Light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? Then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/EastlandFilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. Welcome to the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com for the 26th of November, 2012. How y'all doing today? I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, right here, ready, willing, and able to go into the heart of the beast to tear it out. Yes, for those that stuck around for the first hour, thank you. For those that want to know more, please, I refer you to the podcast that I did earlier, okay? So it's something that it's the bottom line to how I feel, okay? So go check out, not right now, but after the show, go check out the podcast I had done earlier. It's the TVE podcast for the 26th of November, 2012. So check it out. Thank you very much. I want to also direct your attention to Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. That is the email that you can send all of your mail to let me know how you feel. Yes, what's going on? You can send me stuff, too. You can send me articles, whatever. If you write articles yourself or you have a blog or whatever, please send that. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. One more place, Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. How's that? Go check that out. Go like the page. Follow me there. As a matter of fact, let's go there right now. There's a picture up there with a girl drinking a Diet Cola. Yeah. Now, aspartame can kill you. Look it up. Aspartame. Let me spell that out for you just in case you don't know how. A-S-P-A-R-T-A-M-E. Aspartame. Look up sodium fluoride, too. It's a pesticide. And it's also in your toothpaste. Uh-huh. Didn't know that? Go check it out. Hey! How many of you still believe the lie of global warming? Because there's a picture up there. It says the Arctic ice shelves not melting at all. New field data shows. Time to end the lie, Al. They measured the ice and caught the massive UN manipulation. The UN. Yeah, remember? In the first hour, I talked about UN Agenda 21, just a little. I encourage people to go look that up on the UN website itself, Agenda 21, okay? Just go, I mean, hey, it's right there. It's in front of your face. You don't want to see it? Not my problem. Go check it out. Please, I'm trying to help. Thank you. I know I'm little bossy boots over here today, right? So anyway, hey, Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Scroll on down, you'll see something from Joseph Tayepa or something. It says, warning, Facebook have banned all links to this text circulate by way of photo and text. Hidden Empire, the states. Did the world wars, revolutions, and big events of human history happen naturally or coincidentally? Or were they calculated and pre-planned? If they were pre-planned, who planned them? The answer to this question can be found within the boundaries of 3 of the world's most powerful cities. Those 3 cities belong to no nation and pay no taxes. They are Washington's District of Columbia, which is not part of the city of Washington, or the U.S., the inner city of London, which is not part of London or England, and Vatican City, which is not part of Rome or Italy. These cities, called city-states, have their own independent flag, their own separate laws, and their own separate identity. Vatican City. Gracing the walls of St. Peter's Basilica is the Vatican-approved image of God, an angry bearded man in the sky painted by Michelangelo, Cruel, violent images of God's tortured son suffering, bleeding and dying with thorns gouged through his skull, nails pounded through his feet, and hands are on display throughout the Vatican. These images serve as reminders that God allowed his son to be tortured and killed to save the souls of human beings who were all born sinners. The Vatican rules over approximately 2 billion of the world's 6.2 billion people. The colossal wealth of the Vatican includes enormous investments with the Rothschilds in Britain, France, USA, and the giant oil and weapons corporations like Shell and General Electric. The Vatican solid gold bullion, worth billions, is stored with the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England and the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. The Catholic Church is the biggest financial power, wealth accumulator, and property owner in existence, possessing more material wealth than any bank, corporation, giant trust, or government anywhere on the globe. When 2/3 of the world earns less than $2 a day and 1/5 of the world is underfed or starving to death, the Vatican hoards the world's wealth, profits from it on the stock market, and at the same time preaches about giving. So how did the Vatican accumulate all the wealth over the millennium? One method was to put a price tag on sin. Many bishops and popes actively market guilt, sin, and fear for profit by selling indulgences. Worshippers were encouraged to prepay for sins they hadn't yet committed and get pardoned ahead of time. Those who didn't pay up risked eternal damnation. Another method was to get wealthy landowners to hand over their land or fortune to the church on their deathbed in exchange for a blessing which would supposedly enable them to go to heaven. Pope Leo V rebuilt St. Peter's Basilica by selling tickets out of hell and tickets to heaven. During the Dark Ages, the Catholic Church not only hoarded the wealth they collected from the poor, but they hoarded knowledge. They kept the masses ignorant and in the dark by denying them a basic education. They also prohibited anyone from reading or even possessing a Bible under penalty of death. Between 1095 and 1291 AD, the Pope launched 7 bloodbaths called the Christian Crusades, torturing, murdering, and beheading and mass murdering hundreds of thousands of Muslims and Jews in the name of God. The Pope's brutal soldiers were called Knights Templar, or the Knights of the Temple of Solomon, and evolved in today's secret brotherhood called the Freemasons. Between 1450 and 1700 AD, the Catholic Church followed up their holy terror with the Inquisition. Based on rumors of practicing witchcraft, the Catholic Church hunted down, tortured, and burned alive tens of thousands of innocent women at the stake. During World War II, the Vatican was criticized for supporting Hitler and his Nazi regime. To this day, the Vatican is still under investigation for plundering Nazi gold from the Swiss bank accounts of Jewish Holocaust victims. Over the past 5 decades, more than 1,500 priests and bishops have been identified in the sexual assault on tens of thousands of boys and girls in their trusting congregations and orphanages. Why is the filthy rich institution preaching spiritual values of poverty and chastity while cardinals, bishops, and priests cover up their crimes of sexual abuse? Why has the church fought and resisted the compensation claims of their sexually, emotionally, and spiritually traumatized victims? Good question. By the way, just to interject something, I live in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, and near here is Virginia City, Nevada, a gold mining, silver mining town of the late 1800s, late 1800s. And there in older pictures, there was a temple. And one of the people in Virginia City, big high-ranking person, said there were no Knights Templars here. They weren't here. I have a picture on my computer that shows a building in Virginia City, Nevada that has a sign over it that says Knights Templar. It is now the Freemason building in Virginia City, Nevada. So, yeah, they were there. Continuing, number 3, the City of London. Like Vatican City, London's inner city is also a privately owned corporation or city-state located right in the middle of Greater London. It became a sovereign state in 1694 when King William III of Orange privatized and turned the Bank of England over to the bankers. Today, the city-state of London is the world's financial power center and the wealthiest square mile on the face of the earth. It houses the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England, Lloyd's of London, the London Stock Exchange, all British banks, and branch offices of 385 foreign banks and 70 U.S. banks. It has its own courts, its own laws, its own flag, and its own police force. It is not part of Greater London or England or the British Commonwealth and pays no taxes. The city-state of London houses Fleet Street's newspaper and publishing monopolies. It is also the headquarters for worldwide English Freemasonry and headquarters for the worldwide money cartel known as the Crown. Contrary to popular belief, the Crown is not the royal family or the British monarch. The Crown is the private corporate city-state of London. It has a council of 12 members who rule the corporation under a mayor called the Lord Mayor. The Lord Mayor and his 12-member council serves as proxies or representatives who sit in for 13 of the world's wealthiest, most powerful banking families, including the Rothschild family, the Warburg family, the Oppenheimer family, the Schiff family. These families and their descendants run the Crown Corporation of London. The Crown Corporation holds the title to worldwide crown land in crown colonies like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. British Parliament and the British Prime Minister serve as a public front for the hidden power of these ruling crown families. Coming over on this side of the pond, number 4, the District of Columbia. Like the city-states of London and the Vatican, the third city-state was officially created in 1982. That city state is called the District of Columbia. I think they got the year wrong. And is located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington. The District of Columbia flies its own flag and has its own independent constitution. The Constitution of the District of Columbia operates under the tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the United States Constitution. When Congress passed the act in 1871, it created a separate corporation known as the United States and Corporate Government of the District of Columbia. This treasonous act followed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation under the original Constitution of the United States and outside the best interest of the American people. Although geographically separate, the city-states of London and the Vatican and District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. Excuse me. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3 city empires. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city, militarily through District of Columbia, and spiritually through the Vatican. The USA, a crown colony, a sobering study of the signed treaties and characters between Britain and the U.S. exposes a shocking truth. The U.S. has always been and still is a British crown colony. King James I was famous not for just translating the Bible into King James Version, but for signing the first charter of Virginia in 1606. That charter granted America's British forefathers a license to settle and colonize America. The charter also guaranteed that future kings and queens of England would have a sovereign authority over citizens in colonized land in America, stolen from the Indians. After America declared its independence from Great Britain, the Treaty of 1783 was signed. The treaty specifically identifies the King of England as the Prince of the United States and contradicts the belief that America won the War of Independence. Although King George III of England gave up most of his claims over American colonies, he kept his right to continue receiving payment for his business venture of colonizing America. If America had really won the War of Independence, they would never have agreed to pay debts and reparations to the King of England. America's blood-soaked war of independence against the British bankrupt America and turned its citizens into permanent debt slaves of the king. In the War of 1812, the British torched and burned to the ground the White House and all U.S. government buildings, destroying ratification records of the U.S. Constitution. Most U.S. citizens believe that the U.S. is a country and the president is the most powerful man on the earth. The U.S. is not a country, it is a corporation, and the president is president of the corporation of the United States. He and his elected officials work for a corporation, not for the American people. Since the U.S. is a corporation, who owns the corporation of the United States? Like Canada and Australia, whose leaders are prime ministers of the Queen and whose land is called Crown Land, the U.S. is just another crown colony. Crown colonies are controlled by the empire of the three city-states. Obelisks. At the center of each city is a towering phallic-shaped stone monument called an obelisk that points skyward. In D.C.'s city-state, the obelisk known as the Washington Monument was dedicated to the Freemason George Washington by the Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. 250 Masonic lodges financed the Washington Obelisk Monument, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. At the heart of the London city-state is a 187-ton, 69-foot-tall Egyptian obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. It was transported from Egypt and erected on the banks of the River Thames. In Vatican City, another Egyptian obelisk towers high above St. Peter's Square. Obelisks are phallic-shaped monuments honoring the pagan sun god of ancient Egypt called Amun-Ra. The spirit of this pagan god is said to reside within the obelisk. I know it's unbelievable, right? I just said that. So guess what? You are going... I do encourage people to go out and do their own research on this stuff. I mean, literally. It's easier for me to tell you and for you to receive the information than I'm sure it is for you to go out and research this stuff, but it's also going to be more beneficial for you to go out and research this stuff instead of me sitting here spoon-feeding you all of the answers. Ain't going to happen. Go listen to my podcast earlier. It's not going to happen, trust me. It's one of those things. It seriously is one of those things. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? I mean, that's what you've heard. But once you read the truth, once you see it for what it is, once you understand it and have the knowledge to accept it and accept it for what it is, there ain't no turning back, folks. There ain't no turning back. None whatsoever. You can't turn away from this anymore once you see it, once you know it's there. Okay? It's just, what? Seriously. you see what's going on, and you're sitting there going, well, this is just too hard to believe. This just can't be real. Just can't. And I mean, please go check this stuff out yourself. You'll see how real it is. Okay? I don't know. Let's go to break. I was going to wait till the bottom of the hour, but I may leave early. I'm not sure. I may end the show a little early. Not sure yet. I'll see what happens. But I want to direct your attention to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. There's a couple of pictures I want you to take a look at while on break. California man was jailed for 4 days for attempting to record police officers on a public street. Daniel J. Solomon was charged with resisting and delaying and obstructing an officer, but the video shows he was standing well out of the way of the traffic stop and was only arrested when he failed to produce identification to an approaching officer. And there is no law in California that requires citizens to produce identification. Also, the Supreme Court now just said, especially in Illinois, that you can. The Supreme Court said you can record and film the cops. Period. End of sentence. There you go. So all you police officers out there that were thugs against people filming you, guess what? You're going to have to stop. And if you don't, we have a right to sue you. Got it? There you go. Okay? It's too... God. Jeez. Healthcare workers now being fired for refusing to get deadly vaccines. Yeah. They're getting fired left and right. Doesn't matter. You don't take the vaccine, you don't work here. That's what they're telling them. And I'll get into that too a little bit later. Jeez. Email us or email me at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. You can also go to our webpage if you're not on there already at freeamericaradio.wix, W-I-X, .com/The Views Expressed. Help out if you can. Keep the radio show going and the webpage up. Thank you very much. And this is The Views Expressed. You're listening to on the 26th of November 2012. And this is the Liberty and Freedom Network broadcasting live on Spreaker.com.
Are you tired of sending your kids to schools and nursing homes and seeing them shot up? Then you need the TSA. TSA! Let's go live to our reporter downtown.
Sir, can you tell us what's so great about the TSA?
Oh, I love the TSA! When I go to the airport, they grab my balls and make my wife take off her shirt! This is the most action I've had in years! TSA!
Their wonderful staff of ex-cons and child molesters will give you the respect that you deserve.
Are you tired of listening to boring online late-night radio? Then listen to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern. Go to www.latenightinthemidlands.com for more information.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Are you looking for an alternative to your normal everyday radio? Well, check out KTRNradio.com. Jay Towers and Brian Keller bring you everything that you ever wanted to know, and even if you didn't want to know it. Go check out That Radio Show with your host, Jay Towers, and That VK Show with your host, Brian Keller, on KTRNradio.com. If you're into liberty and libertarian values, tune in to The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, at RadioFreedom.us. Yeah! Yeah, there we go. This is the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network, broadcasting live on Spreaker.com. Yes! There you go. How's that? Well, I got more where that came from, just so you know. The music I'm playing on here and that you hear on some of the promos is from freeplaymusic.com and aviary.com. Give them all the credit where credit is due. I'm using it here, just using it, not for any other reason except to enhance what I'm doing. I'm not selling the music. I'm not doing any of that. So, back off. I'm going to do what I want. Thank you very much. Besides, you think I can write that kind of music, what you just heard? As a matter of fact, I can. I do play guitar and write songs. So there you go. But anyway, this is the Views Expressed right here on the Liberty and Freedom Network for the 26th of November, 2012. How y'all doing? We got a few minutes left. Like I said, I may end the show a few minutes early, so I'm not sure yet. But let's go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Healthcare workers now being fired for refusing to get deadly vaccines. The government spends millions subsidizing the vaccine industry each year as potentially dangerous shots are pushed on the public in the name of crony capitalism. More and more healthcare workers are being told what they have to put into their bodies, despite all of the evidence that it is more harmful than helpful, and whether they like it or not. And this is from Melissa Melton over at, it's from A Sheep No More on Facebook. You want to go check that out, or click on the picture there on Liberty and Freedom Network. And it says, a Cincinnati-based healthcare system has reportedly fired 150 of its 10,800 employees because they would not get vaccinated against the flu. Citing patient and staff protection, the company sent termination notices to the employees this week just ahead of Thanksgiving. If they agree to get the flu shot, which are offered at no cost, by December 3rd, the employees will get to keep their jobs. This isn't the first instance of healthcare workers' freedoms being stripped away. Whole states are now attempting to force healthcare workers to get vaccinated. Last month, Rhode Island passed the first ever full mandate requiring all healthcare employees, including doctors, nurses, and even temporary workers and medical volunteers, to receive a flu vaccine. Colorado State Health Board approved a similar mandate 7-1 this past February that would force all healthcare organizations, such as hospitals and nursing homes, to prove that at least 60% of their employees received a flu vaccine in 2012-2013. The requirement will increase to 90% by 2014-2015. A similar flu shot mandate bill has been introduced in California. Healthcare staff in California cities of San Francisco and Santa Clara are already required to take the shot. If they refuse, they must wear a mask at work at all times. In most cases, the only way for a healthcare worker to refuse a flu shot is on the basis of provable medical grounds, quote unquote. According to National Vaccine Information Center, I didn't know there was one of those, there are 8 types of commercially available flu vaccines which contain a wide array of potentially harmful ingredients. Everything from toxic thimerosal, mercury, which has been shown to cause neurological disorders, to the funeral home preservative, why is that word difficult to say, formaldehyde, to the food additive monosodium glutamate. I gotta stop reading ahead. MSG. That's what these shots contain. Mercury, formaldehyde, monosodium glutamate. The one flu vaccine study even found that only 1.5 out of every 100 people inoculated derived any actual benefit from the annual injection. 98.5% of people, didn't get anything from the shot. As it is impossible to predict which flu virus will hit in a given season, so-called experts have to choose which strains to use in the years around of vaccinations month in advance for on-time production and delivery. In other words, they have to really just sit there and predict it. They have to guess. Because it says right there, it is impossible to predict which flu viruses will hit in the given season. So the experts sit around and guess. This means that out of hundreds of strains, scientists have to pick a few and hope their supposedly educated guess is correct. Yeah. And no, because flu vaccines have been shown to cause severe reactions such as Guillain-Barré syndrome and seizures, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention provides website visitors with a link to the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, which anyone injured by the flu shot can file a claim. World-leading immunogeneticist, there we go, that word, Dr. Hugh Fudenberg, even found that people who receive 5 flu shots over the course of their lifetimes have a 10 times greater chance of developing Alzheimer's. The CDC has determined that anywhere between 3,000 to 49,000 flu-associated deaths occur in the U.S. each year, as the 2012 U.S. population sits approximately 314 million people. This means that as an American, you have between a 0.001 and 0.02% chance of dying from the flu. In 2009, deliberate N1H1 virus fear-mongering by the World Health Organization and the mainstream media led to billions in the big pharma vaccine profits on a shot that hadn't even been significantly tested for safety or effectiveness. In addition, the CDC hosts a web page titled, quote, "Pregnant Women Need a Flu Shot," unquote, urging soon-to-be moms to get vaccinated against the flu. And yet, elsewhere on the CDC site, it warns that children younger than 6 months of age should not get a flu shot. How an inoculation that is not deemed safe enough for a newborn infant can somehow be considered perfectly safe for a still developing fetus is not explained. The government spends millions subsidizing the vaccine industry each year. And, I read this before, the government spends millions subsidizing the vaccine industry each year. As potentially dangerous shots are pushed on the public in the name of crony capitalism, more and more healthcare workers are being told that they have to put what they have to put in their bodies. Despite all of the evidence, it is more harmful than helpful, and whether they like it or not. Citing reasons for public safety and personal responsibility, how long before states begin to consider or even attempt to require everyone, not just healthcare workers, to get an annual flu shot? Okay. Click on that picture as well. There's also just a bunch of stuff I put up over the weekend. 9/11 Truth for Dummies. Go check that out. Surveillance grid moves ahead with VoIP spy technology. Yes, VoIP. Skype and Tango and all those other ones. Google Voice. All of them. All of them. I don't know, folks. I mean, here I'm reading you the articles. Here I'm reading you information. And what are you doing? Okay. I've got enough time to read this last article here. Click on the picture. It's a picture of a cop. A California man was jailed for 4 days for attempting to record police officers on a public street. Daniel J. Solomon was charged with resisting and delaying and obstructing an officer, but the video shows he was standing well out of the way of the traffic stop and was only arrested when he failed to produce identification to an approaching officer. And there is no law in California that requires citizens to produce identification. And even if there was, it would require the officer to have a reasonable suspicion that he was committing a crime. But prosecutors have already dropped the charge against Solomon, as well as a few other minor citations relating to his bicycle, such as not having proper reflectors on the pedals. And they most likely knew he was considering he. Let me read that again. And they most likely knew who he was, considering he won a $25,000 settlement from the same police department after they unlawfully arrested him on eavesdropping wiretapping charges in 2005. This time, it appears that the Hawthorne Police Department will be dishing out much more, thanks to Officer Gabriel Lira's abuse of authority. They knew exactly who I was, Solomon said in a telephone interview with Photography Is Not a Crime Saturday, adding that he has recorded them on a regular basis since 2005, since his 2005 arrest, when he was jailed after attempting to file a complaint inside the police station. They always address me as Mr. Solomon, he said. There's a link to that article and all that. There's pictures all over the place on Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Check them out. They tell a huge story, please. Thank you. Like the page. Comment if you like. That'd be cool. I encourage you to go listen to the podcast that I made earlier. It will tell you everything you probably already knew and probably some new things that you didn't. I know that we don't always agree. I know that as individuals, people are either going to agree with someone or not. That's just the way it is. But why don't they disagree? I mean, why don't they agree? Do they have something that says that they're right? Does the other person have something that says they're right? What's true for you is true for you. How can you change that? There's no way of getting around that. But yes, there is. To understand what the other person is seeing, you have to see it from their point of view. Am I correct? Their perspective is on a certain issue is one thing. Well, why don't you step in their shoes and see it from that point of view? I'll tell you why people don't want to do that. I just said it. They don't want to do that. They don't want to because they think their preconceived ideas are the way to go. They think the information they're receiving off of that boob tube is the way to go. They think that's it, and it's not. It really isn't. They're shallow, pathetic people that have no life and would rather screw somebody else's life up to feel happy about it because their life didn't turn out so hot. I know people on the opposite side of that. I know people who have a great life with great money and great houses, but they treat everybody else like crap. You know? So, anyway. I do plan on doing more podcasts. I do plan on doing more shows. Please email us. I say us, because I'm sure that there are other people out there that want to be a part of the Liberty and Freedom Network. Please email me your information to libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Little program note here. Liberty and Freedom Network and the views expressed live are looking for guest hosts. Yes, please send me your information to Liberty and Freedom Network @usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network @usa.com. Just because I have a guest host doesn't mean I'm not listening to the show or popping into the chat room. I have to set it up and, go from there. So, I'm going to be sitting here listening, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. So, hey, if you're interested, send me your information at Liberty and Freedom Network @usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network @usa.com. One last little thing that I want to, at the end of the show here, that I want to mention is, and I mentioned it in the first hour, and that was Angel Diaz, a host here on Spreaker, where I broadcast my show from. At first last year, the beginning of the year, when I, heard him on Spreaker and thought that, yes, this guy was, legit, and this guy was, really on top of things. But you know what? After listening to him in his recent podcast, which sounded familiar, it sounded like one that he did a few months ago. Maybe he just uploaded it again. I'm not sure. But he just has an attitude. I'm going to expose this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. No, he's going to do it for self-gain. He's not going to do it for anything else. He wants to spread the truth. And, well, no, if you're in the liberty movement and all that, you're going to have to look at things on every level, not just one singular mindset or preconceived idea. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I hope, he gets, a clear mind and begins to think a little clearer. I know a lot of people out there like that. Just within this, you want liberty and freedom, but you want it your way. You want everybody to cater to you. You want everybody to give to you. You want everyone to listen to you because, I want people on my show that understand that it's an all around humanity thing where liberty and freedom is not only singular to yourself, but also to your neighbor. And that no matter whether or not you agree or disagree with him or her, you're going to defend their freedoms and liberties. I mean, that's just the way it is. Imagine, for instance, in the mid 1800s, before the Civil War, they conscripted people in the Civil War. They drafted people in the Civil War. I mean, why not? They needed people, so they had to do something. But liberty and freedom is part of what humanity is. We didn't get our freedoms and liberties from a piece of paper that our, founding fathers signed in 1791. No. We've had them for a very, very long time, long before people came to this country, because they're inherent, spiritually inherent freedoms and liberties that we know are part of us, are recognized by our government and says in a piece of paper, the government cannot tell you what to believe, what to do, when to do it, why to do it, how to do it, or whatever. But people have put President Obama up on a pedestal and Jamie Foxx, big actor, has said that he's Lord and Savior. I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I just hope he was joking, please. But I know there are some people, like that Obama phone woman, think he's just everything and all that, and she wants more. People like that make me, just want to throw up, but, that's me. Fact of the matter is, people, is that we have to wake up. Take yourself out of your environment for a minute. Go walk around the mall, or go walk around the park, or go to a ball game or whatever, and see how people react in certain situations. I mean, we just saw this past weekend. Gray Thursday, Black Friday shopping. Holy crap! Did you hear the stories? Wasn't that much as it was last year, but my God. Somebody pulls a gun on somebody in a store, and it's like, wait a minute. What the hell are these people doing? See, that's materialism. Does not work, ever. Has never, ever worked. A belief in that you'll be happy if you have stuff has never, ever, ever worked. I like nice things. Well, I like nice things too, but I'm not willing to go in debt for them. It's crazy. It is just the craziest thing, really. I don't know. Email me, Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Go to the website, if you would, at freeamericaradio.wix. That's WIX.com/The Views Expressed. On the right-hand side, you'll see a book that says Many Directions of Man. That's my book. I wrote it. It's just my observations of things and possible solutions. Also on the left-hand side, you'll see a tab that says Store. Please go to the store because you can promote your patriotism there by buying stuff. And it says Liberty and Freedom Network on it. And also, on the left-hand side, down at the bottom, you see a donate button. If you don't want to buy my book, that's okay. I really wish you would. If you don't want to buy at the store, that's okay too. But if you want to donate, please do. All it does is help keep the website up and the show going. That's all it does. That's all it does. So anyway, if you can do that, great. Wonderful, fantastic, appreciate it. Also, give you a little program note here. On Wednesday, the 28th, we will have none other than Michael Vera from LateNightinTheMidlands.com on the show. Going to get his take on what's going on, his views as to this whole debacle we call the past election cycle. We're going to talk to Michael Vera about a lot of things within the time that we have him, because he has his show right after mine, actually, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's called Late Night in the Midlands, and for more information, you can go to LateNightinTheMidlands.com. That's LateNightinTheMidlands.com. Check that out. And also, hopefully on Friday, we'll have the one and only, the vivacious and ever so intelligent Angel Clark from the Angel Clark Show. You can catch her show 5 to 7 Eastern at radiofreedom.us. And you can read her blogs at SussexCountyAngel.com. She's been on CNN. She's been a bunch of places. So we will get her take on what is happening. She'll only be with us for about a half hour. So, and that will be Open Forum Friday. I will have a way for you to call in, not only to on the Wednesday show, but also the Friday show. And I will give you all that information tomorrow and at the beginning of the show. But in the meantime, we're going to get out of here, Hey, it's always fun. It's always great. I love your support. Keep supporting the show, spreading the news. And if you see that person, Angel Diaz, not Angel Clark, Angel Diaz on Spreaker. Let's educate him, shall we? Okay? Let's just, give him what, just be nice. Educate him. Okay? But anyway, this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, and this is the Liberty and Freedom Network, and you've been listening to the Views expressed for the 26th of November, 2012. Email us at libertyandfreedomnetwork@usa.com. Liberty and Freedom Network at USA.com. Go to Liberty and Freedom Network on Facebook. Go check it out there. I'll be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And remember this, we the people have the power, for we are America.